What's happening with African leaders? My name is Nick Lodi. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Let's get 100k subscribers before the end of this year. We all know that Cameroon has had an election within the course of the week. And it's so weird that Paul Biya, who has ruled Cameroon as the president for 42 years, he has been announced to serve the 8th term as the president of Cameroon. It's crazy. Paul Biya is 92 years old. And his opposition, who is called Issa Chiroma Bakari, is 76 years old. So Paul Biya has refused to give a chance to Issa to rule. The government of Cameroon is saying that Paul Biya surpassed the election after winning by 53.66% and Issa Chiroma Bakari lost by 35.19% of the election. But the opposition party in Cameroon believed that these elections were not free and fair, whereby right now there are protests in Cameroon for that Paul Biya can step down for another man to take over the power. We all know, like, Cameroon, when it comes in Africa, is not one of the best countries in infrastructure, but it's so crazy on how a 92 years old man is still fighting for power in Africa. Like, a 92-year-old man is a man who does not deserve to pay tax. Is a man who is supposed to live tax-free. And by the way, someone said that when you get old, you start going back to your childish moment. That's why you see when somebody gets old, the teeth starts coming out because we are not born with the teeth. So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. So I still wonder if the president of Cameroon has not reached that cycle yet. Because a 92-year-old, no way he can rule the state or a country the way it's supposed to be. In my country, when you reach 80 years old, you cannot run for president. You can run for any seat. When you get to 80 years old, you can run for any seat, for any government seat, you can run. And people retire at the age of 60 years. And also people are proposing that the 60 years, they should be pulled down up to 50 years for that many jobs can be created. So I still wonder, how are African leaders? You don't want to allow someone else because we have different minds. Everybody thinks different. Everybody has a different culture. Okay? So when you bring in a new person after every 10 years, obviously it's going to come up with a new thing and the country is going to be in future. I believe that's why there is no any African country that's the first world war. That's the first world country. So leave alone with Cameroon. Let's come to Uganda. Uganda is set to have an election in 2026 January. But the president of Uganda, who is 81 years old, Museveni, who has ruled the country for 39 years, is still campaigning to seek presidential election for another term. So crazy. Museveni at 81 years old, I believe even his health right now is not good. And in these campaigns, he's sending statues. You are seeing statues, campaigning, statues which look like Museveni. They are there campaigning for Museveni. And people, they are there waving at the statue. But the opposition leader, who is Bobby Wine, who is 43 years old, is still running for the president. And people, they have shown the respect that they need to vote him in. But Museveni has realized that he might lose. So yesterday night, he decided to send the police to where they believe that that Bobby Wine was going to have a night in an hotel. So they went there destroying everything. They went there attacking, thinking that Bobby Wine was there. So what's happening with African leaders? You have ruled the country for 39 years. You have ruled the country for 42 years. You still don't want to step out of the power. You are getting old. You still don't want to get out of the power. That's crazy. That's crazy. African leaders should learn, and they should let powers be given to new people. You should stop being hungry for power. And this country we are talking, being ruled by these people for this longest time, they have done nothing for these countries. In fact, when it comes to the poorest countries in the world, they are almost at the red line. They are almost at the bottom of the red line. So it's crazy how these leaders, they are still looking for power, yet they have done nothing for their countries. When you live alone with Museveni, let's get to Tanzania. Tanzania, today on 29th October, they are having an election. The president of Tanzania is a woman who took power after the death of the Tanzanian president, Magufuli. Mama Samia Suluhu is the current president of Tanzania. And he said to go for the second term. But what Mama Samia Suluhu has done in Tanzania, it shows the evidence that women belong to the kitchen. Women belong to raising kids alone. They can lead people. So the government of Tanzania today has banned all social media platforms apart from WhatsApp. And it started by banning the X. But only government officials right now in Tanzania can access X. When I mean X, I mean Twitter. Only government officials in Tanzania can access X. The other people, Tanzania has over 60 million people. So 60 million people, they can't access social media right now in Tanzania because the government has banned them to prevent everyone from posting about elections. But that might not anger you. Listen. Will you believe me when I tell you the president of Tanzania, Mama Samia Suluhu, is going into an election ballot, running against herself. You know, it's crazy I'm calling him because I've never imagined that women can also be dictators. So the opposition leader of Tanzania, who is called Tundu Lissu, right now is in prison, being accused of treason after demanded for reforms of election in Tanzania. And currently he has been banned permanently from elections in Tanzania. So Mama Samia Suluhu, the president of Tanzania, he has no competitor. She is running against herself as the president. While you go to Tanzania, you might think that there is no businesses to advertise. Every billboard you see on the road, any space you see on the road, only the advertisement of Mama Samia Suluhu campaigning for president you can see. So this is crazy. This shows that women, when given power, they can still be dictators. Let's stop complaining about men. But men have shown not all men can be dictators. But women, they are worse dictators. After Mama Samia Suluhu, what has done is an evidence. It's an evidence that women are worse dictators when it comes to power. So it's so crazy. People have shown up for the Tanzanian election and they have said there is no election in Tanzania and they are going to have protests. But the Tanzania government has shut all the media and has said there is no protests. They are going to happen in Tanzania and elections are going to be held. And whoever will try to protest, he will see. He will see. Imagine that a big president telling you are going to see what's going to happen to you. So as a normal person, if you hear a president telling you that, what are you going to do? It's time for the African, we change this Africa, man. It's time for the African youths, we change this Africa, man. We need free and fair elections in every country. Not that every election people must die. Everyone while he's getting to power, people must die. And if you come from Africa and you are listening to me, if you go to the US, the person vying for the seats, he or she is given the money by the people. He doesn't have to take his money. In the US, you don't have to have money to fight for a seat. Because if you sell your opportunities of what you are going to do when you get the power, people are going to give you the money and vie for that seat. What you just have to do is to sell for your manifesto. So if you come from Africa and you see any politician giving you money, just take the money and don't invite that someone in. Because the moment you invite that someone in and he or she gave you the money during the campaigns, before serving you for what you elected him or her to do, he's going first to take his money he gave you during campaign and put back on his pocket first. He's going first to return his money back. For that he can start serving you. So what you should do is avoid those politicians who are giving money here in Africa during campaigns. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy, man, about what African leaders are doing. So tell me what's happening in your country about elections and make sure you subscribe, man. Make sure you subscribe. Let's get 100K subscribers before the end of this year. Subscribe. Salute.